Good morning. Welcome to Daily Focus. A little late this morning. I got on a call with a very good pastor friend of mine, and we got chatting. So I'm a little bit late, but we're dealing with a tough chapter today, a very sad chapter. Here we have David running for his life. Saul finds out that he went to the priest and got some help, and that nobody killed him. To help Saul, nobody seems to be taking up his offense. Nobody's taking up his cause. Nobody is uniting with him the way that self pity, victim mindset people think everyone should rally around them. And so I've entitled this "The Pit of Self Pity." In other words, there is a trench. There is a consequence for people who constantly have to play the part of the victim. They're constantly wallowing in self pity. Would somebody please feel sorry for me? Nobody can understand how bad I have it. Nobody understands how sad I am. Nobody understands how hurt I am. Nobody understands how hard this is. This mindset of self pity and victim mindset is destructive. It's destructive to others, but it's really destructive to ourselves. And yet we find that that's exactly where Saul is. And so in verse number 7, Saul is irate with all of the soldiers, and he says to the servants that stood about him, "Hear now, ye Benjamites, will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds? That you have conspired against me, and there is none that showeth me that my son hath made a league with the son of Jesse, and there is none of you that is sorry for me." I mean, do you not know what a threat he is to me? Do you not know how serious I am about killing him? Do you not know how necessary this is? How come you guys don't see it my way? Boy, there's just so much of that happens in life. And we have to be able to say, am I that kind of person? Do I want everyone to feel sorry for me? Do I get upset when people don't feel things the way I feel them, or that they don't see them through the lens in which I see them? And I think the whole world should acquiesce to my feelings and my view of things. Well, that's the way um, Saul was. But remember, I told you about Doeg, the opportunist. And so in verse number 9, then answered Doeg the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Jesse coming, and he went down to the temple. So then the king sent and called Abimelech the priest, and says, what do you do? And Abimelech basically said, what has David ever done to you? Right? And he's answering that question. And he says in verse 14, Abimelech answered the king and said, and who is so faithful among all thy servants as David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thy house? I mean, what problem do you have with David? And the king says, thou shalt surely die, Abimelech, thou and all thy father's house. Now, let's go back and remember that Eli would refuse to deal with his sons. He knew what was the corruption going on. He refused to address it. He refused to give consequences for it. And God said, not only are you going to die, Eli, but there is not going to be a man in your house. And which is just a tragic prophecy of what's going to happen to unfaithful parenting. And so what happened is that the descendants moved to Nob. And that's an important piece here, because here we have Saul upset with Abimelech. And we find that in later, the king says unto the footmen, verse 17, that stood about him, turn and slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand also is with David, and because they knew when he fled and did not show it to me, but the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priests of the Lord. These soldiers had more integrity than King Saul. They had more respect for God and the priests than Saul. But remember the opportunists. And the king said to Doeg, "Turn thou and fall upon the priest." And we know that Doeg turned and killed every one of the priests except one was able to escape. And we'll talk about that in the future, Abathar. And what we're going to see is that all of these priests, the descendants of Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas, gathered in Nob, have been destroyed because of the pit of self pity that Saul was in, saying, "Somebody please see David the way I see him. Understand that my kingdom is being threatened and that God is going to take it from me. If I don't kill this guy, please help me kill him." And even his soldiers refused to acquiesce to such a self-centered agenda. And boy, every one of us, I think, needs to take a deep breath and ask ourselves, when we're discouraged, when we're uh, depressed, when we're sad about life, is it because we have a victim mindset? And we're saying, will somebody please feel sorry for me? Will somebody please see it the way I see it? Will somebody please feel it the way I feel it? And instead of doing that, maybe we should get our eyes off of ourselves and say, how does God see this? And how will this make God feel? And make sure that we're Christ centered in our decisions rather than self centered. I hope you have a great day. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.